some blogs. It's actually renewed recently, and I think you will enjoy it and find it very easy to find the information you need.
Okay, well, great. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Bringing people and communities together on seclosounds.org.
Your listening station.
You can contact us or just keep up to date with travel news at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
This is Seclo Sounds, your community radio station. If you'd like to volunteer some of your time and skills with Seclo Sounds, send an email to volunteers@seclosounds.org and let us know how you would like to be involved. MK Flyers Online, the fast and simple way to find any kind of business or service locally. Find us at mkflyersonline.co.uk or download the MK Flyers mobile app from your app store. MK Flyers Online proudly supports Seclo Sounds, community radio for Milton Keynes.
The John Guinn Travel Show. Checking it out before you check in on seclosounds.org. And now, travel news. Travel Weekly has reported that 5 airlines have been told they cannot postpone giving compensation payments to passengers whose flights have been delayed by technical problems. You may remember that I've actually put in a claim myself against Virgin Airlines for a delay because of technical problems, and it hasn't got anywhere yet. I'm still waiting, but you'll soon know if I ever get the money. Anyway, these airlines were Jet2, Thomas Cook, Ryanair, Flybe and Wizz Air, and they had wanted the Liverpool County Court to stay or delay a woman's claim over a delayed Jet2 flight, while a Dutch case on the same issue was heard in the European Court of Justice. But the judge rejected this, saying a line should now have been drawn. Justice delayed is justice denied. Briefs for the passenger, Kim Allen from Lancaster, claimed that the ruling would benefit tens of thousands of consumers with delayed compensation claims. I could be one of them tens of thousands. Allen is claiming €400 in compensation after a delay flying from Manchester to Malaga in March 2012. Her Jet2 flight was delayed by almost 7 hours due to a technical problem which occurred just prior to takeoff. Allen's case was originally stayed pending last year's Hussar versus Jet2 case, in which the Court of Appeal judges ruled that technical problems are not an extraordinary circumstance under EU Regulation 261/2004. The stay on her case was initially lifted after Hussar's victory, but Jet2 soon made an application to stay Allen's claim yet again. The airline wanted to put the case on hold pending the outcome of the Dutch case, which has been referred to the European Court of Justice. This case, the Van der Lands case, will mainly look at whether a technical problem that arises spontaneously, as opposed that one is detected during routine maintenance, is an extraordinary circumstance under the EU Regulation 261/2004. Extraordinary circumstances are the airline's only defence in paying out flight delay compensation. A flight delay lawyer at Bott & Co Solicitors who represented Allen said, "We're delighted that once again the court has rebuffed the airline's attempts to continue delaying legitimate passenger claims. Bott & Co alone have over 8,000 clients with claims against the 5 airlines, who have requested stays similar to that in Miss Allen's case. We have seen continued legal challenges to the finer details of flight delay regulation by the airlines since it was first introduced, and it is pleasing that the court is now taking a firm line against them. We would hope that the airlines would now finally face up to their obligations to passengers and to settle the hundreds of thousands of legitimate claims outstanding." It keeps going on. Sadly, the history of their conduct after the last decade would tell us to expect yet another legal challenge. A Jet2 spokesperson said that as Jet2.com has only just received the judgment, the company is currently considering its position. If, like me, you're waiting for a claim for a delay because of a technical issue, how's yours coming along? Let us all know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show.
Step into the Spotlight with me, Lucy, every Wednesday between 6 and 7 p.m. on Seclo Sounds. I'll have new music, the latest entertainment news, and interviews with local bands. If you're in a band, or if you have music that you think I should be playing, I'd love to hear from you. Email me, lucy@seclosounds.org, and join me every Wednesday from 6 till 7 for Spotlight on Seclo Sounds.
You can contact us or just keep up to date with travel news at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. I'm not making light of this story because there's been a death, but I just want you to imagine that you're looking at a travel trade website and in one corner of the page you've got a story about how safe it is in Egypt, and then on the news headlines you've got, say, a story about a bombing in Cairo where one person was killed. Earlier in the week there was a series of explosions in the city which was targeting mobile phone shops, a restaurant and a police station, and there's around about 6 bombs, and I said one person died. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office, FCO, said in an updated travel advisory that there are reports of 1 death and a number of injuries. The organisation thought to be responsible is the Popular Resistance Movement, and the FCO continued to say that there's a high threat of terrorism in the country. And they said that attacks could be indiscriminate and occur without prior warning. Attacks targeting foreigners can't be ruled out. And the FCO continued by saying that there is considered to be a heightened threat of terrorist attacks globally against UK interests and British nationals from groups or individuals motivated by the conflict in Iraq and Syria. You should be vigilant at this time. Continuing with warnings from the FCO, British travellers have also been warned about demonstrations in the Maldives. Now you may just picture the Maldives as being idyllic, deserted islands, but there is a whole country involved in this too. It's just not just the small islands that you see in the tourist travel brochures. And the FCO is saying that British holidaymakers to the Maldives have been advised to avoid protests and demonstrations following the arrest of the former president, Mohammed Nasheed. Nasheed, who's now in the opposition party, was arrested last week under anti-terror laws. He complained about being manhandled by police after he ignored attempts to prevent him from speaking to reporters outside court, the BBC has reported. His arrest sparked huge street protests in Mali, the capital of the Indian Ocean island nation. The Foreign and Commonwealth Office said that protests and demonstrations are not uncommon, especially in the capital. They continue to say previous demonstrations have led to violence and arrests. Take care, remain vigilant, take appropriate security precautions and avoid large gatherings, protests and rallies. It also pointed out that there's no British embassy or consulate in the Maldives. If you need consular assistance, you should contact the British High Commission in Sri Lanka. The FCO said an honorary consul in the capital Mali can liaise between the British High Commission in Sri Lanka in emergencies. Just when you thought the price of travel was going to be coming down, for those to go to Florida, it's actually going up. Universal Orlando has announced ticket price increases following a similar price hike by Disney. A single park day pass at Universal now costs $102 before tax, which is up from $96. Children's tickets were previously $90 and now priced at $97. Universal's 2-park pass, which includes entry to Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure, has been raised to $147. Last week, Disney hiked its one-way admission price to Magic Kingdom to $105 from $99. So the prices aren't that great, but if you're on a large family, then it can soon mount up. Ticket prices at other Disney World theme parks, Epcot, the Animal Kingdom Park and Hollywood Studios, has also increased slightly to $97. An Universal Orlando spokesperson says that we continue to create incredible new entertainment experiences across our entire destination. We set our prices to reflect the value of the experience we provide our guests. They continued, we also work to provide the greatest value where our guests tell us it matters, with our popular multi-day tickets and vacation packages where we have the options as low as $53.75 per day. The theme park industry apparently announces ticket price increases this time of year to take advantage of the busy spring break period. Are you planning to go to these places in the spring break. It could be quite chaotic with all the college students, but anyway, if you're going, what do you think about these price increases? Have you been affected? Let me know. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. Now, this story broke after I recorded last week's show. You may have seen it in the news. The airline industry is coming under more pressure to investigate the harmful effects of toxic fumes on flights after the death of a British Airways air steward. The family and friends of Matthew Bass have started a campaign because they believe the 35-year-old died due to aerotoxic syndrome after breathing contaminated cabin air. They want to put pressure on the government to investigate the problem and to raise money to help the families of other possible victims to pay for special post-mortem testing to establish the real cause of death of their loved ones. That's their words, not mine. They're also planning legal action, which they claim is backed by the union Unite. Matthew, who had worked as cabin crew for 15 years, died in his sleep on the 30th of January. His family say in the last 6 months of his life he frequently complained of tiredness, digestive problems, and occasionally suffered mild bouts of trembling. Doctors did believe that he was suffering from Crohn's disease, but this was ruled out by the post-mortem tests, which failed to establish a cause. However, the family decided to pay for a second post-mortem examination carried out by a pathologist in Holland, which found evidence of chronic exposure to organophosphates, which are found in synthetic fertilisers, insecticides and jet engine fuel. The results were then examined by the US by one of, if not the, world's leading authority on organophosphate poisoning. You know what I'm like, I struggle with words. And the results were confirmed, says the campaign website, which has already got hundreds of people to sign its petition. The spokesperson went on to say that the most difficult part of all this is to come to terms with is that the airlines industry and the government have known that this has been happening for decades but are doing nothing to prevent it. Earlier this week it was confirmed that a Dorset coroner has submitted a report about toxic fumes in plane cabins to the Civil Aviation Authority following an investigation into the death of BA pilot Richard Westgate, who died aged only 43 in December 2012. Sheriff Stanhope Payne, the senior coroner for Dorset, claims that those who are regularly exposed to fumes in planes face, I quote here, consequential damage to their health. A spokesperson for the CAA, the Civil Aviation Authority, confirmed that it had received the report and it would review in detail and respond to the coroner accordingly. Despite concerns about toxic fumes going back as far as 2000, a review commissioned by the Department of Transport in 2007 did not establish a link between cabin air and pilot illness. However, it did not rule it out. In case you're wondering what this is about, it's that they use pressurised air from the jet engines to pressurise the cabin. As you know, you fly the cabin's pressurised. So they're saying that this contamination can come in certain circumstances from the jet engine into the cabin that way. Hopefully this won't get forgotten about like it seems to have been done in the past, and something will happen about this, because it's very important that we know whether we're safe when we fly, and especially if you're regularly flying like the cabin crew are. More than 550 hotels across the UK have been told to improve their food hygiene by a government watchdog. The 4-star Royal Lancaster Hotel near Hyde Park and the Radisson Blu Edwardian in Covent Garden, this could be one of two hotels. I recently stayed at the Mercier Street, which is one of the Radisson Blu Edwardian Covent Garden hotels, a few weeks ago, and I thought it was excellent, but then again I didn't look into the kitchens. And these were amongst those who had received just 2 stars or less from the Food Standards Agency, which examines the hygiene of hotel and restaurant kitchens and how safely the food is prepared. You may see similar things around in your local takeaways where the local council come out and do stars. Anyway, the FSA rules say that a 2-star rating requires establishments to make some improvements, while a rating of 1 star requires major improvement. And a 0 score means hotels must make urgent improvements. All those hotels named in the report, which was revealed by the consumer group Which, said staff have been retrained and processes have been changed since the inspections. So perhaps the inspections were done before I stayed a few weeks ago. But to say, when I was there, the food I saw looked everywhere looked clean and tidy. So Let's hope they've started to make an improvement. Which is now calling for food hygiene ratings